we've done projects where we didn't have the amount of funds, we had to get extra funds, like down at the mall. So these numbers may be a little high, yeah, but, I'd rather be a little high now than not have enough.
Well, I understand that, but that's, I mean, it's so high that this is what scares me more than anything else. It's not the concept, you know, the concept's not good. But the other thing that I run through my mind is priorities too. I mean, you know, and stuff. I mean, we're gonna dump $200,000 in Memorial Hall, and that thing's an all-seasonal recreational thing, which is, you know, good. And, this is a season. I mean, it's just certain seasons that you can use it. And that's a lot of money. Even, I mean, our share and you guys' share both. So, I mean, if your commission endorses, it's fine, but I'm not ready to commit unless somebody hits the lottery.
Well, if we apply for the grant, what are we obligated to if we're awarded the grant? We do proceed?
I mean, if conditions materially change,
Yeah.
we're fine, not accepting the grant. However, if you apply for a grant and conditions don't materially change,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yes, I understand.
it's not the best place to be in for Jack's money,
Sure.
once you've applied for it. That can give you a black eye. Now, if the legislature does something, we experience a disaster, you know, those sort of things, even if you have a bridge collapse, you know, you have something, we have to redirect these dollars to that. They're gonna understand any of those sort of things. Will have a hard time, well, you supported in January, and come May, nothing's changed, now you don't wanna do that. That's where they have a hard time.
Mhm.
And that's where we don't look as favorable on future projects.
Were the specs, like, based off of, is that what the KDOT specs are, what they require for trail? I mean, I would say 10 feet wide does seem awfully wide for, but I don't know any trail.
10 feet is what's required to have bidirectional, bike and pedestrian traffic.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen any in Johnson County 10 feet wide.
If you look, they really are 10, I mean, if you go out 10 feet longer, I mean, we had this big argument, and I was like, they're not that wide, and I got something wrong.
yeah. There is maybe some 8-foot, but it's not very many, not very many 8-foot. Normally it's 10-foot wide.
Well, you know, I don't have to live with it. It's you guys' ball that they'll have to build, you know. I think, you know, it don't hurt anything to apply for a grant. But if something comes up that's before the grants are awarded, well, you can always cancel out. You don't have to accept it.
Well, I think that's why I asked, I just asked.
Yeah. Yeah, you can, we don't have to accept it now. I would strongly,
Yeah.
if nothing changes and we decide not to accept it, that's not the best place to begin.
I think it would put us in a precarious position as well, because then we would also have kind of a black eye with KDOT and any future funding that we don't want.
Mhm.
But I think materially changed.
Right.
No problem.
Hey, Dave. Dave, what about right away?
Yeah, we've
We've had
talked
discussions with the brothers about the farm right away. It's all owned by the Ashland.
I just didn't know what anything on here about right away. Like,
I think that is part of it's part of the cost estimate, so that is part of why.
I have right-of-way utility cost estimates at a percentage, you know, that could vary.
Okay.
it might not cost nothing, it might,
The
Minimal fee.
walk trail would be on the east side of the power pole then, in between the road and the walk trail, or?
yeah, we'd have to figure
Because
out
I'm
the
sure
best
they have,
spot.
Westar, I'm sure has right of way up through there, we'd have to.
We'll have to define what the, standards would require for road offset, and then if there's utilities there, then maybe we'd have to be on the other side then, but and that's why we'd have to have a survey. We'd get the grant.
And right now, we're just dealing with an estimate, and we haven't done any construction engineering, we haven't done any design engineering that starts to get money, but that's why these numbers are high until you go in and start doing all that work and have a final plan.
And I'm sure you're probably figuring this being, being asked too.
Yeah,
Right.
we're doing, it would be a turnkey project.
That's, I can't see that any something, see that much price somebody can do, unless that's something that's required by the grant.
I mean, we can look at it, once again, it always comes into a priority.
I mean, that would be the only way I'd even consider, is if there's some way we could help do some of that in-house, but I'm just not ready to commit any money. I think we could possibly, like we've done in the past, work with, furnishing some help and some ways and some equipment. That's just a lot of money to be, you think that the return is that much?
What?
$250,000 is gonna return a lot.
Go down some Saturday, go down some Friday, go down next Saturday, go down this Saturday on a warm January day, Commissioner. I invite you to come down Saturday, look at our riverfront trail, look at the activity going on. It's not just a 3-season deal, it's a 4-season deal. Look at all the activity that you see that day, and you will be amazed. And that is one of those things that you can bring a business into town, and they go, oh. I mean, it's one of the highlights of the community that makes it play well. Love taking people down the riverfront when we have opportunities.
It would be a really monumental project for the community, it really would. I mean, in talking with so many different people that are wanting to get involved in it, I mean, I think there's a lot of community support behind it. It's gonna be great quality of life improvement for people here, and it's also a way to, as Trey said, attract new businesses here. I know when I moved here, that was one of the key things for me was the riverfront's beautiful, and it's something that we can absolutely capitalize on.
When we were recruiting for veterans positions, we brought in all 4 of our candidates to the river house that night, and we got in the banquet room that overlooks the river, and I can tell you what a powerful recruiting tool that is to be down there and on that river. And
Would we need to do it current, that does bring a good question. We do have, I don't know what kind of equipment
we
you
want
have.
to talk to KDOT. The thing is, we're gonna do a turnkey estimate at this point. If we get to next January, December, when we're looking at it, and we say, hey, we can do it in-house, we go to KDOT, we think we can do it in-house. In-house has a huge cost, though, because you're using your man-hours that can be spent somewhere else.
But if we have to redo River Road at the same time, we're there.
You're there. It's just, and it's something we can look at, but we always want to go forward with a turnkey project, and if we come back and we end up not doing a turnkey, that's great. That's something we can talk to KDOT, and KDOT will usually work
So your
with
main
us.
grant requirements would be that we could do,
Not usually, as long as it's built to their specs and stuff, things.
I guess that'd be a question for Matt too, is that feasible?
Well, the problem we're gonna get into is, we'll probably be stretching it just to do the River Road project and get all of our summer work, all of our chip seal and all that done. And that's, the only thing I'm concerned with is how much, this is probably gonna double, maybe not double, but add a lot more time onto our construction down there. I'm worried about just getting our seasonal work done. The only other thing, maybe, we could go up there and do that north end of River Road this summer to get it out of the way,
And,
and then come back.
What I can tell you is, if you're looking at $125,000
from the levee.
$20,000 buys us one
East and
street
north.
block of asphalt. I mean, so you're talking, not having these guys, I mean, if you're gonna contract out for asphalt work, you're not gonna get a whole lot of asphalt work contracted out. And you're probably better off having these guys on a cost benefit ratio out doing that road work versus doing that. I know it's a lot of money, but one of the other things is we still have inspection there, which we think more than likely we'll be able to do inspection in-house, which would result in a pretty good savings. That's $96,000 that we have a savings that would reduce the.
Yeah, you just show it so that they include it in the grant, so that.
It's there, and, I mean, and the thing is, if we get caught up on a bigger project, we can always go out on it, occasionally we go out on construction, not occasionally go out on engineering all the time, but, I mean, Dave does most of our stuff like this in-house, we would imagine doing it in-house at this point.
One other thing, Wes, actually, I'll give him credit for this. What about the maintenance? Mowing along it, spraying, then you're gonna have your, also, you know, you're gonna have your just general maintenance on it from time to time. I don't know, they probably won't want a hike and bike trail chip sealed, but, it'd have to be sealed or.
It's got to be sealed, because you're gonna have the pressure, I know that's what they run into problems at the ballpark, they're trying to get it sealed. What about like beyond?
I mean, you know, as always, within grant, we assume that maintenance, I think we're, like we've said before, we're willing to do the first 25 years of maintenance on it, and then after that, we can figure it out after that.
Matt, what do you have scheduled for 2014 as far as outside River Road, like pay? 'Cause I know you typically schedule in about
2014.
You usually schedule in about 40 miles
Yeah.
worth of paving.
We try to get we usually don't get 40 miles, but that's what we shoot for.
That's a possibility there. We trim some miles off and just throwing stuff out there.
And this is the discussions that we can have in November if we're awarded. How do we want to do a turnkey, or do we want to use your crews? And what is the true cost of using your crews to do it? I mean, because, yeah, when you look at just materials, but when you start figuring in the labor involved, it gets expensive real quick. $125,000 for this sort of project is a cheap project.
I disagree on that, but that's fine. We just got a lot of things coming, I mean, that by the two ambulances, we've been so far behind on that. We've got to upgrade the facility for that yet. We've got a lot of equipment that we haven't for years, I've got an inventory of that, and it's pathetic what our inventory is on some of our equipment. And like I said, with the tax lid or M&E coming, either and or, be devastating.
Well, in which we completely understand that happens, that change.
But that's what gets me, is the timing of this is bad, because, you know, it was towards the end of the year, and we thought looked like we could have some surplus, like fire, but we're going into an unknown year.
Well, and at the end of the day, we're not obligating 2013 funds, we're looking at 2014 funds. And, I mean, the grant hasn't been awarded.
That's what I'm looking ahead to right now.
And unfortunately, these things take time, and I mean, you know, sure would be bad if we got to November and said, no, got money, we should have applied for that grant. Sorry. I mean, it's a lot easier to decline something than it is. I mean, it's money that's gone.
So we still reserve the right to decline.
Yes, until we start construction, we always have the right to decline.
So, I mean, there's a cost to it.
There's a cost to it. But there's a cost to not applying, too.
If I may, I realize that if you want to have the figures high, so you don't have to come for more money. But on the other hand, as a new commissioner, I would like to see more actual figures to know what we would be committing to if we agreed to do this?
We're saying 123 at the high end. You know, we pull off $100,000 in construction engineering. I mean, we cost it out however we do it. I mean, you know, we're between 75 would be the low end, I think. So you're talking 75 to 120. Commissioner.
So if you do the stuff in your house or your engineer, will that be off the total project, or will that be off your percentage of the right, of the back end?
Total project,
Total project, yeah.
it wouldn't be part of our match.
Tough, huh, Bill?
It is tough, because we don't know what we're gonna, you know, we don't know what we're gonna need.
I'd love to, I really would, but it's just, I mean,
I have to admit, I mean, it's a good project, I'm just, I mean, that is a chunk of money to,
and to be right honest, I mean, I'm gonna do all we can to work together, because we're our county. But with, you know, the constituent, I'm 97% county, and the condition that we have some of our bridges and so far behind, you know, I get a constituent tell me, you're gonna spend that much money, that'll buy 3 or 4 bridges out in our county. So I mean, that's where I'm coming from, okay?
And I guarantee this will be more used than a lot of those county roads from a
Well,
county
you
road.
want business coming to town, don't you?
We do.
You want to be able to get to town, okay?
Here's our next question, Commissioners. And I need to go back to my governing body. I don't know what they will say. Is there a number you guys would commit to south of 125? That we could, 50, would you guys commit 50 to the project? And then we could work from there. But at that point, I can at least go to my governing body, the county supporting the project. You guys aren't in 50-50, which I understand there's a lot of objection there. But, you know, if you guys did 50, that would, you know, potentially keep the project alive. I'd have to go back to my commissioners to see if they want to do it less than 50-50, but, I mean, at least there, it shows that the county's supporting it. Because I think if we go without county support, county support is in dollar support, we're dead in the water.
I understand.
You know, and I guess an alternative, I would ask for $50,000 from you guys, and we'll figure out the rest of the project.
okay, I'd like to have Matt run a couple of other things before I probably want to, commit. I see the concept of it, we have until the 15th.
Yeah, but, I mean, we're just hard, I mean, we're coming up on needing to go out to the community for support, and, I mean, I guess, commissioners, I would almost ask you this, would you support the project today, and you can always withdraw that support by the time we go out to turn in the application, if you guys think you guys need to withdraw that support. That's still an option, because we won't.
Yeah, it would be removing a couple pieces of paper from the grant application.
But at least, as we go out, we can tell people the county commission's on board today, and
Right, and just to reemphasize, a grant application is not a committing to funding. You know, there could be 25 other projects across the state where, you know, it's just putting our hat in the, it's putting your hat in the ring. And even if you are awarded the funding, you don't get any money until the contract's signed. And if there's, you know, the contract negotiation, I've heard those going on for months between grant awardees and the state. So, you know, there is time, it's just the initial support.
I would, in that scenario, I would, move that we support the project and see if the city can get, take it to their commission, saying that we're supported at, $50,000 level.
Well, if you leave the figure off, because I would support it in general but until I see some little different with the concrete kind of thing.
what do we need for the grant application? Do we need
A resolution of support would probably be, and I've got those on I'll email those to you later on when I get back to the office today. A resolution of support saying that you support the project and are willing to, you know, help out the city with it.
help with?
There are no dollar figures on the resolution of support. So it's basically just a document saying that you support the project on this day, and you recognize, you know. I can send it to Becky and she can forward it on to you so you can take a look at it.
Yeah, just take a look at it. I might be able to buy into that, but I'm getting real nervous about even any dollar figures.
Well,
Yeah, leave the dollar figure off of it.
we still have a motion on the table from Tom. I guess the question becomes.
I need something to work with as I go to my commission, so if I see straight head shakes, at $50,000, probably we can get there, I'd be okay working with
I don't
that.
commit any dollars.
I mean,
Dollars.
No, we're not committing
I-
anything, I think just to.
I'm looking for nodding heads as I talk to my commission, you know, that,
Because it sounds like there's no obligation of dollars or commitment of anything, we're just supporting the idea of.
I said all along, I think it's a good concept, I just cannot see how it costs so much money. When we're doing River Road, what we're doing for $200 and some thousand.
Mhm.
I realize we're doing in-house stuff, but
and engineer, there's right-of-way acquisition in there, there's engineering cost in there, design cost in there. I mean, you have a host of things that you guys don't have in that project. I mean, and then you put in as a turnkey project versus doing it in-house.
Okay, so it kinda amps up.
It amps up get to the true cost of the project. Because I guarantee if you guys started looking at your cost per project and start figuring, you know, labor, it's gonna put your project on much even square footage. And figuring depreciation on your machinery, I mean, it's gonna get you guys there real quickly.
Mhm. Would, you guys, I don't know if there's a way to work that out. I don't think it commits, you know, since it doesn't commit us to any dollars, I think if we show support, they still have support from their commission. I don't see any harm, at least just applying for the grant. We always have the right to decline it and not spend any money towards it. I think the concept is, we're all saying.
yeah, you can go ahead and pass it to me until I get more dollars. I want to be able to put dollars.
I'm having a little heartburn. I think,
Yeah.
can we get you, what do we need to do with this resolution at this point to get you at 3-0? Because I think that helps us with the grant application.
I support the concept, I just want absolutely no binding obligation.
But we're not binding, I mean, we're not binding you right now, we're just trying to get the,
If the resolution said I support the concept, I support the concept, but I'm not sure, how much money I want to put into it.
and we don't need a monetary amount, right?
We don't need one right now, no. And again, you can always have the right to deny the funds, it's completely within the rights. You have to sign the grant agreement after the grant's been awarded, and if you don't sign it, then no harm, no foul.
And it's gonna fall under Kansas cash basis where the money hasn't been
Right.
allocated to 2014 grant.
When is the grant awarded, or when?
Grant, Chris, summer,
Yeah, the
probably.
grant application
This
is
year.
February
Before
15th,
budget
so
time.
May, I think, is when they're
I
gonna
mean, it will be
release the.
before budget time, but, I mean, that's always your right as a governing body is decline it and,
Yeah, but, I know what you're saying on that, because you
I just-
define that's terrible.
and I think going forward with a 2-to-1 resolution of support from the county puts us in not the best place either. And I guess I'm not asking you for a dollar commitment, I'm just asking you to support the project, Commissioner, and I think we're better off if we have your support for the project, then we can work out funding, once we get the grant awarded, keeping that in mind, that, maybe that's the neighborhood you guys are in, and I understand if you're not.
Puts me in a position, that I support the concept, it's in my dollars, whether I want to commit dollars, I can't commit any dollars.
And we understand that too. I mean, we understand you get there, it's a whole different ballgame when we're actually looking for money. I think I'd rather have you supporting the project now, and if you can work there to get us dollars, we understand that, and, at the end of the day, if you work and can't get dollars, I understand that too. I guess that would be what I would ask you, Commissioner. If you support the project, we work to look at dollars, and if you can't, as long as you're gonna work at it, I think you're there.
I would go with that.
And I think if the grant is awarded, which is the pretty biggest, you know, there's limited funding, if the grant is awarded, at that time we can discuss funding, and you would have a better idea at that point, you know, whether it was doable for you to get any funding.
I supported that, I like the idea of knowing, you know, but when I get these figures, it just blows my mind.
And they're high figures, we understand that. And it's turnkey.
If he takes the dollar amount off, I would support the resolution.
Yeah, I think you rescinded.
Yeah, I'll take the dollar amount off of it.
So,
That'd be my motion.
So motion on the floor is to proceed with grant application support.
In support of the project.
The Trevor project.
The resolution that, well.
Yeah, it'll be in your mailbox this afternoon.
Do I have a second?
Okay.
All in favor, signify by saying
Commissioners, while I'm here, and I'm gonna monopolize the floor, so you tell me I can't.
2 minutes.
We've committed $406,000 worth of funding to the county this year for joint communication, solid waste, ambulance, whatever it's for. And we just wanted to know, are you guys comfortable with, we've been doing, our history was making monthly payments. When the sales tax came in, we would turn that over. Last year, you guys had a bit of a funding cash flow problem, so we went ahead and said, hey, we'll just send you 2 payments. We sent one early, and then we sent one again in July. And I guess with your permission, we'd love to cut you a $203,000 check on Friday, and then we'll cut you a $203,000 check in early July too, if that works with you guys.
It's your discretion.
Yeah.
That's your discretion.
We just wanted to make sure that worked with you, make sure there wasn't a need to have all $406,000. You know, it was a little bit of a strain on us to do that, in January, but, we're, no problem doing 203 now, and 203.
Well,
July.
Tomorrow night, we'll just briefly discuss, we still need nominees for the new solid waste committee, so hopefully we get that up before the end of the month. That would be, and let them determine, you know, come up with a game plan, a long-term game plan with the solid waste system. So, I think biennial would be fine. I mean, it's up to you, whatever, I don't wanna,
It's totally your discretion.
your budget, I don't know how to disrupt your budget.
Yeah, we get a little bit of interest on it, not much, but,
No, not much at all.
but, yeah. Quarterly, I mean, or biennial, better than quarterly.
I think biennial is probably better personally, it's
Okay.
just,
Okay. Well, we will make,
any problem with that.
we'll send you $203,000 on, just look for the check in the mail, keep it going.
Okay, and I will get it.
Isn't that usually good?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Wherever they usually go,
Okay.
so we'll cut the check on. Anything else from us today, commissioners?
No, you'd asked, about like maybe like an EMS update possibly at the summit.
Yeah, if that's possible. I just had several commissioners and asked me about what's going on.
I think he'd come to your commission.
Okay.
I mean, you passed the word, they wanna meet with all kinds of cities and groups and explain.
Well, and I think the other thing was, should there be any more of a policy discussion on, you know, as we're having these broad policy discussions on Thursday, should there be any sort of policy discussion about the EMS system? And I think that directly relates to solid waste and everything else that we're doing here.
Brent's in Effingham on Thursday, I believe, is he teaching CPR class?
He's working with Brownies and the Girl Scouts on Thursday at Effingham, and he said he could just send back to you.
I wouldn't necessarily have a problem if he just gave a 10-15 minute update, would that be an issue if we had him, I would say probably after 1%. Sales tax, on the agenda.
And the other thing, I don't know what time you guys are scheduled. I know we're starting at 6. I do have one.
6 to start the legislators to talk. The goal is the legislators to start at 6:30, we try to get them. We don't know how many, we know 2's coming, we're not sure the third is coming.
What time are you guys think
Yeah.
we're gonna be done?
We had 2 agendas, I emailed, I mean, just used for
Oh.
And I have I don't
Two
know,
different
worked
agendas.
early, and Thursday, he was just concerned with getting her out of there on time.
Monday, make it nice, we can reach by 9 o'clock,
Okay.
shoot for.
Yeah, we should have, agenda out to press in every city today. We were hoping to get it out yesterday, but I'm gonna hold off and get decided on, so too, so.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think until we get
Done, so we officially approved.
Are you coming on me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something for like the treasurer, so,
Yeah.
you getting your 50% off for along with your pay?
We'll have to go over the budget is,
Yes, that's what you said, it's not quite 2% really, there's just a little variance if you, because it was, they updated and then.
we could go off of what we budgeted, we could just.
Well, that's what it is, because there were, Jerry made a few accommodations, and a couple, his was just a little higher than 2%. Kind of internal, remember he made adjustments.
We can help you.
If you wanna sign it later and then mail it, that's whatever's most convenient for
I
you.
can do it right now. State a motion to sign certificate of completion of CDBG elevator grant. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Well, the way it is, that nobody can, so we can take official action on salary increase.
As presented on the budget, and basically, most of the cases, it was less than 2%, because we got some.
Yeah, but she's budget, she's not up, but, You know what? I think what's gonna happen, I think, I don't know, surely she would know, so that's right, that would be the 2% times.
That's what you feel like, I think you do it for John, that they take, you know what you have to take is whatever the rate was, like if it was 2%, the total, and that's how you figure your percentage. Like you would get somebody, you would treat him for that.
In years past, they give it total 2%, and then if the department heads wanted to do a merit type system, then they could divide it up however, but it hasn't been consistently every year, but
Well, we didn't get
Some
anything
commissions
in
did.
2012, we didn't get a raise in 2012.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you did for senior bonuses.
2%. Per person, though, within each department, their budget, they would.
Yeah, I'm looking here, you can see it's. This is, when you take out the MVTs, this is what it comes out to with these, and this was the 3 months. And this is so that there's actually more budgeted than that in there. $50.
Yeah, hopefully, passage 2%, there's no way that they can adjust it to what they have.
But if you do that, then they're gonna have to base off this, won't they?
Correct.
And these won't,
2% off of the 2012
Wages,
wages,
yeah,
this won't be effective.
correct.
unless you make exceptions. You want to discuss it after, there's other people,
Yeah, we can discuss that.
We need to get something going on it today, though, because a lot of
Yes.
people are inquiring. Joe, would you have?
I don't really have anything to do, I'm just checking in. Seems pretty busy, so unless somebody has something.
You were supposed to, did you get with Wes? Okay, all right, okay.
All right.
Thanks, Joe. We got myriad people. Who wants to go first?
I'm worried.
I just got something real quick. You guys might wanna take some time together, originally this, but just going through my files, I have kind of some history on the joint communications about things that happened from the city, when it came up here, when the payroll come up, when they decided they wanted out of it, but there's good info that you won't have to look up if you just wanna look through some of those. And I'm not sure what direction you're headed there, to keep the same or whatever, but that just gives you a lot of history on.
Appreciate that.
So I thought it'd be good for you guys just to have it, oh, you don't have to look or ask a lot of questions. I didn't look through everything in there, but I skimmed through it, there's a lot of good stuff in there,
You
so.
probably remember it all.
No, I don't, it came back, yeah, when I read it.
Go back to 97.
It was back quite a ways, I don't know if the original resolution's in there or not, but.
Oh, 96, before.
But there's good info in there that'll be helpful to you.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Don't go too far today.
I'm not.
Wes, what do you have for us?
I just have one document. The 2013 annual market review management item. I just need to try to signature. Same every year.
Meeting with him, mess with him a little bit. Let me get a take for the gentleman. Okay, iPad. Thank you. Good. How are you?
So you got, it sounds like you got a Joe.
Yeah, suggesting a mammal or a puppy that they're not carrying, and then said not to fill the bottom, like we were to affect things, because, we won't allow the water moisture. We said actually, we were going to have a bait like this to the bottom of it, that she could help us with, after it's done. You blew it too, that we wouldn't do the bottom of it, wouldn't feel the bottom of the bait, so that the moisture could come out.
Good idea.
So, and this is good because she, about 1.5 inches so off the floor already,
Okay.
so.
So they're happy, you think the thing will be as quick as we talked about going ahead and even just seeing what it costs to put that,
He's
plastic
fine.
board in?
He said it actually better, if you're gonna paint it using enamel, but you can buy an epoxy that you can actually brush on like paint, which gets same style as what was on the floor, so that would work better.
The epoxy would be a better route out, yeah.
Yep. So,
Well, I guess we'll see how long that lasts, and then hopefully that'll last at least 5, 6, 8 years. And if
it's funny for.
well, it might, I don't know, I mean, you just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't paint the whole, I wouldn't paint the whole bay. I mean, I'd go, like you said, like 5 or 6 foot up and do enamel, or do the epoxy down to the floor from there.
But Brent was talking about doing it all, because if you get to spraying in there, be even seal it.
You're gonna have to seal it with something, you're gonna
Yeah,
have a lot of
no,
moisture.
I was saying you would paint with enamel from the.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
But we price it, see what it does, ask Joe. He won't tell you, he can go 5 or 6 foot up with you.
You're gonna put a lot of stuff on it,
Like this.
it's gonna soak it all up.
Yeah, well, the enamel won't suck up, it won't, as much as like a latex would.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. We're looking at the prices, and then that'll do the work, and then just, not based on. And then, we're gonna say, come out to your meeting on Thursday night. That's all I got. I should have everything.
Lisa does all these kind of everybody, so.
I was like, oh, wow.
Who's gonna burn that in?
Yeah. There's not very many since, September. So, no.
Oh, I know you had one in September.
September. September, yeah. Maybe, when we took it up, I can get a look. But no, we don't have one on,
Okay.
open burning, so, that was almost calling it open burning, so.
Right. Have a good one.
Thank you. Chase?
Well, here, speaking of raises, I would recommend that next year we get a raise for next year. You start with, been that way for 5 years.
Not fine with that.
These are the updated summary sheet. I had to make it a little small so I can get it all on one continuous sheet. It's either that or file through about 6 or 7 pages trying to line up those properties in which. Those are the ones that, are good to go. Except I did put on a few of them that we need some further action. Now I have 2 appeal forms from people that say they're snowbirds. They only live in their place a handful of months out of the year. Where do we go with that? Nothing? Because it is,
Because what,
yeah.
somebody works a long day, they're not in the house all, I mean, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
That's awfully hard to determine too, I mean, that's going based off of word, so.
Well, if you
Other
don't
than
know
utility.
somebody else, I mean, I've seen those situations with family members come up here and say, in the house, so, I just think that's no basis of appeal. Vacant lots, abandoned homes,
Snowbirds are only gone about 3 months, 4 at the most.
Mhm. Well, even then, I mean, even if it's 2 months, you're here 2 months, it's difficult.
You start that where you stop, and I'm gone 2 weeks, I'm gone a week, I'm gone a month.
And what happens if there's no way to follow up to see if they do leave or if they come back, or, I think it would be very difficult to measure.
Okay, so those people call back in the good news.
So quite a few of these are like non-livable empty lots.
I guess, in going down, it'll have like a residential house there, but you have to go all the way down to the researcher's notes, and they'll, at that level, or at that layer, they'll make a determination whether it's, average, good, poor, or unlivable living conditions. So, if you know what you're looking for, you can find it, but, there were a few, somebody turned in an appeal form on a vacant lot that had no charge on it, so need to give them a call, figure out what they want. And, the homestead issue. These are all the homestead candidates that I have. What I'm asking is, do we approve that as part of the resolution, or is that gonna be just an individual approval? Is it gonna be something that we put in the resolution, the homestead exemption, or can you grant individual, appeal exemptions or reductions?
I don't think it was in the resolution.
I don't think it was.
It wasn't right, as
There
of
was
right.
an amendment to the resolution.
And we discussed it, and it seemed like you would be, for it. It's, the question was, do we want, next time Pat's here, and we put it in the official resolution, or does that have one? I have 5, so is that resolution worthy, or is it you just approve it on an individual basis?
Not the homestead, I think it's a necessity to do it on an individual basis.
Because usually, and I think, the city also, because they do a number of utilities, their homestead is less than 1%, so, but it is part of their, pile of paperwork, it's one of their procedures that they do have, so, where would we go with that one? Because it would be the, as far as I know, it would be the only program that we use the Homestead Act for. So, whether we wanna put it in, and if we wanna put it in, do we, do a press release on that, let people know if you're a homestead qualifier? There's remedial action that you can take.
So it's got the amendment to the resolution.
Okay.
I thought that would be good.
Yeah, Pat, you know, I talked to him yesterday, he had court today, so, you know.
So if it's gonna be an amendment, I can go ahead and include those in on the summary that's, and then, let's see, we have our, those miscellaneous. There's another folder that still requires some kind of utility verification. Pat and I still haven't finalized the affidavit, but some of these properties are kind of a wild goose chase, as far as trying to find utilities. So, I don't know if we want to, finalize that affidavit and just have those people come up and sign on, say, you know, they think you promise that they're not trying to game the system. Because trying to find utilities for, like a water utility for somebody that has a well water, I don't know what to do there. But then you look at electricity, and they use the electricity to heat the well water so it doesn't freeze, and then you also, I mean, you have very little variation as far as if somebody's living there or not in terms of kilowatt hours, so. I mean,
How many have you got? Maybe you have to go visit them.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get it right.
Okay, I have a question. We have two houses, we're paying $6 million, but one of the houses, how do I, there's somebody that lives in it, do we still have electricity? Anyway, so we're on the home place where you need electricity for other stuff.
Electricity goes to other stuff, not really to the house.
Well, I mean, the pit, somebody lives there, you know, and they're on rural water, but we need to grow water for our
Livestock.
livestock. So how do I just have to, we're just paying the $6 million.
It's in an hour with electrical and water usage.
Well, we don't,
The only thing I can do is show the electricity from the time that my son and them left until now, it's just gone down considerably.
right, and most people don't have utility bills from 2 years ago, 3 years ago readily available, so, and then the Westar Energy will just, they'll look at you like you're crazy when you ask for something like that, so, but I do have, 12 over here, these are the ones that,
Gas lock, that's all.
well, those aren't, these.
Those are separate.
These are separate, these are the ones.
These here are pretty, these look like they're pretty well cut and dry.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
whether they provided the information that we've asked for, or.
So all these proposed adjustments are from you?
Hmm.
Okay. And so everything looks,
Yes, as far as I can tell, there was one on there that I put in bold that we need, two need more information. I pulled it up, but, according to our records, it's still a livable structure. It actually was rated as, average condition. So, it probably just needs some more utilities looking into, or get an affidavit. But there's 12 more of those, and they've already filed their appeal, so as far as timeline goes, it's not exactly, they need to get in here tomorrow to sign those, so, there's that, there's the homestead, snowbirds.
so like a lot of these, like, people do some report when, like on some of the structures, like if structures have been tore down or it's uninhabitable, on a parcel. People just don't report stuff like that, or?
Well, when we filtered it out, yeah, I mean, in cases where it's a house that was like built in 1878 and it's still technically, because that house is still on the property, it's still considered a farm use, which means there's a residential on an ag land. It's been kind of interesting because, people, they don't tear them down, or they don't have them condemned, or because for the appraiser's office, all it is they come by and they appraise that, yep, that structurally unsound structure is still there, and we'll charge them $200 in property taxes for it. But then you use the filters of the structure, it's so many square feet, and that's how it ended up getting on a residential roll. But we have quite a bit. I was actually wondering, I was gonna ask on Monday when we had the discussion about the county public works being able to clean up properties, nuisances and nuisance abatement. If we would, once every couple of years, have the road and bridge people just tear people's condemned buildings down for them, they can, because we don't have a zoning system, so you don't need a permit. You can literally, for some kerosene on and light a match, and as long as you put the fire out.
As long as they burn bad.
As long as there's no burn ban on, and as long as a number of other things, but theoretically, yes, but we have a lot of people that just, I mean,
I
there's.
think you still gotta be careful about some of that material in there was burned for me.
There's a huge liability there. I wouldn't have, wouldn't just,
You'd have to have the owner's permission
Right.
to do that.
But it was something because, it's something that I wanted to kind of ask, because they're still paying taxes for it. And it's something, it's either a blighted, I mean, you'll have somebody's garage that, you know, people break into, or it's kind of a recurring theme that we could.
I think part of like Jefferson or Leavenworth County, to see what they do before we take on, to see what their protocol and standards are, because I think it's more common, if you're getting in some situation like that, you're typically like bidding out or having a separate company outside of your government doing demolition. I don't think it's very common to see a whole lot of governments doing demolition.
Leavenworth County zone, so they have the power to, you know, they can go up, say, you will cut it down.
If they don't, I'm just curious, like, what they, like, what's that procedure?
I don't know.
If they have like a, you know, like they have a separate company, I mean, I think it's pretty common to like bid something like that out to have it demolished.
Because it is a recurring theme that, you know, people are unnecessarily paying for structures that,
Yeah, that City of Ashton does.
you don't want your kids around.
Like,
But, you know, either you have somebody that owns the property but just maintains it, or you'll have somebody that, you know, mom and dad moved on, either, you know, they passed away, or they're not living there anymore, they're in assisted living, it's a house that's just a huge hazard. So, I don't know. And nobody knows, like, if you have a city, a house within the city limits of a city of the third class, they don't really have permits or anything, but it's still within their city, so there's that liability. So, I don't know, it's just something that's come up quite a bit, and I don't know if it's something that we can discuss, because it easily falls under county health or public welfare. It's something that.
Well, then you're getting into your, it'd have to be, we'd probably, you know, the way that we have our nuisance resolution right now, if that's truly the case, then we have to go through those proper procedures, we have to go through Northeast Kansas Environmental Services. We can't just go and tear down a structure, you know, just because the person requests it. Because what we're doing now is basically, it's people that are not compliant with. And we haven't gotten to the point of tearing down a structure at all, so.
I'm just thinking about the service that we could look into or find a way to offer that would help out the rural residents that are paying for these structures. Because there's quite a bit of them that are still on the tax roll, but they're useless. But they just need to be torn down. It costs too much to rebuild or repair them. So, just an idea. Suppose I could look into it.
you can always call that fire department and say, hey, you guys are practice putting out fire. And like, that happens, I mean, it happens in Leavenworth County where fire departments will come out there and practice using as an exercise of putting out house fire. And then after they're done, they light on fire with a burn and control it.
I'm guessing it's just quite a few properties, though, that's just my assumption.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Then you have a lot of fires, especially volunteer fires, that it'd be hard to find the time to.
I'd say what you're gonna find out, most of them know they're paying taxes, but they're paying taxes because that might have been their great-grandpa's house or whatever, and they're not gonna, they'll just continue paying until they pass on, and the younger generation say, why are we cleaning, let's clean this up.
Or it's cheaper to pay taxes on than to just tear it down.
Yes.
I mean, it's always something to look, but I'd like to see what maybe some other counties are doing.
right, especially unzoned counties.
that's gonna be kind of a private procedure in place.
I didn't know what to tell most people when they asked, well, is the county gonna tear it down from them? No.
You're truly having a lot of requests from,
Well, if somebody's writing an appeal for a shed or something that's run down, that it's just, it's not worth to maintain, but they're still paying, $50, $60 on it in property taxes, they have asked, what do I need to do to get it, torn down? And, outside of the city of Atchison, which has its own, program, there aren't that many options. It is expensive for somebody to hire somebody to tear it down, and we don't offer any services like that, so we can't really do much, so. But it's probably about 50 or so are those kind of situations, so still not a lot, but we need to contract out and put it on a waiting list of, well, okay, we'll hire out this service for one summer and we'll get about 50 condemned structures, unmovable structures raised over a summer, and they could be we could be one of those once every couple of years, we pay for that, and that could be a property improvement or something, health, something.
Let's, just reviewing this, so do we need to just do, motion to,
Well, I was gonna ask Pat, cause he, originally when I came up,
okay,
I asked him what, would you, have you, all the commissioners sign, does it need to include resolutions, and what kind of underwriting does it need, so that, I can go through it.
Are these expressions into the tax statement?
These are the appeal forms.
appeals,
Appeals to get the,
But you're correcting tax statement,
yes.
yes.
which you sign off on anyway.
Well, they assign on the abatement, so the reduction on the non-residential. These are either removes or reduces further.
Which
So-
is the same thing, you're approving that change.
Okay.
But
So,
you can ask that if you need a resolution.
well, it will need a resolution. I suppose that's just an update, so whatever.
I don't know if we necessarily need a resolution, but a motion would be required to at least approve these, and we'd have to sign off, obviously, when we make them across individually. Or I wonder if we did a motion like that, we wouldn't have to do these each individually, correct?
You can do it like you did those long residential ones, that we printed off, we did print off individual abatements, but we printed off the
Yeah,
summary sheet and we initial.
and that's essentially what this is a summary sheet.
Well, this is an informational summary sheet. This isn't,
The summary sheet.
nothing has been done to the actual tax statements yet. This is, we're just reviewing information, and you guys have all the information that you need to sign off on removing solid waste fees or, reducing here and there.
What if we had a question on one of these?
I can go dig you up the appeal form.
Well, there's really only one here that didn't know that really met our criteria, that this lady, she lives on the county line, and doesn't use our trash service. I don't think that's legit. That's like saying,
That's my neighbor. That's probably my neighbor. Ditsky?
Well, they provided, their trash bill from Thornville, their bill for trash service, and their argument was, and I thought it was fairly compelling, that they don't contribute anything, they don't send it that way, they send it.
But if you do it for them, you're gonna have to do it for everybody that's on the border of any of our counties.
Right.
I'll give you an example, on my road, there's 22 houses and 19 of them I told you $54 a month. So if you do it for that one, boy, they're gonna be a lot.
Yeah, vacant lots, vacant houses, I mean, that's just one of them, living on the county line at advantage and disadvantage.
I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm just saying, you'd be surprised how many of them you're gonna have. And then you're gonna get into, well, I burn my trash, or, where do you stop it?
Well, that's what you, that's the other way, otherwise, I mean, I think, looked like everything else was good there.
That would be very slippery slope.
I don't think we're gonna open that can of worms up, although it saved me $61, I just.
What do you want, automobiles, I don't know about.
Kind of like,
Depends on where it's located. There's a Holden, Warrenville, and Valley Falls listed on that same address. Do you know what town, what the address on it is left off of there? It doesn't say Action Center or.
I can look up the appeal form. If it's not left on there, it might be one. There's one or two of them that don't have a CAMA number, PIN number, and there's one or two of them that don't have, the city designated on it because they let that out of the appeal form. So, but, if you just wanna mark any one that you would like to see the appeal form, I can go, go get it out. Hopefully I kept it in pretty good order.
You're talking really about those houses, it's not have a residence and the water, like, could you go through the postal system, see if there's mail being, if there's not that many, can it well? Prove that there actually nobody was living there?
I mean, I can't remember exactly who, but there was somebody in there that he only goes through once a month and picks up the mail at that house. So, if somebody did ask that it be forwarded on from that address, then that actually would be a good lead. Check into that.
We're at a party, Mary. We're at a party.
That hearing today, that Kurt Wilson, the trigger man,
Interesting, huh?
it's upsetting.
I'll tell you a story once, I thought it always be a good duty to be on the jury, so one time I got selected, so boy, I get up here, and it was on a child molestation case. It took me 2 years to get over that. I said, never again, I'm gonna say, I know him, never again will I do that. Took me 2 years to get over that, and they just basically charged the wrong, that's what, she was getting molested, but they charged the man, and it was a woman. I said, never again.
Yeah. That's like a lot of those cases. They're very, It's very emotional for me. I knew Kurt since he was a kindergartner. Margie Earl, it's just probably about a year or so,
Then when they found out
I am right between them, as crow flies, I'm right there, right between them. Large enough, the Kurt died,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
and such violent deaths, so.
You're right, that is more than
It's 200, because it's 204th Road or something like that.
The line is 206. You're right, that is more than
206.
The whole thing was within the county. The whole thing's within the county.
What is?
The whole property.
What is, that, as you said, they're on the county line, and they use one of those, so I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I'd be out to know.
Yes.
So do you need to check with Pat first before we?
Well, this is just an update, just
Yeah.
if you guys have questions, if, certain situations come up that need an agreement like that. Other than that, because those include everything that was on my desk as of yesterday. So, I have the homestead, I have the verified, the county utilities and city utilities, which they're getting back to me on that one. So, once we get all those, you can just wholesale approve everything that's in at that point, and then we can go through and just change the property tax statements again. Those are the pretty straightforward ones.
He said just the two bold faced were
There was
additional.
Yeah, something, either one of them, I think both of them needed utilities, it's by our record, they're livable, so. So I don't think any action needs to be taken, just, if you wanna mark the ones that you'd like, some kind of second look or consideration, I can go about doing that. Just keeping track of. I don't have to do this again, I don't know how to do it right. It took me about 3 weeks to get a uniform call tracking, because I have a piece of paper and I have the questions, things that they leave for me, and then I had several notepads floating around, I was like, okay. So, went out and bought one notepad, and said, this is how I'm gonna record all this stuff. So the first couple of weeks were rough, just trying to keep track of everybody, making sure I left a message, follow up, if they couldn't get reached, follow up.
Make a motion based on.
That's pretty well good now. There's no manual on how to do the customer service for a county.
See, what, some of them, Jerry,
Hold on for dear life.
that's what's here, 2% raise here, and we keep on through like that, but 2% there, and once the figure is plugged in, so that's gonna throw that way out of whack. There were 2 or 3 adjustments back when we put in, they weren't straight 2 o'clock, 2%, some of them were a step included or something, so. All I'm saying is it's gonna throw that out of whack, because see, there was nothing figured on these 2, when this figure was arrived at. This was 2%, but this was not, this was quite a bit more.
Yeah, no, he'd come up with that, that was approved by us on his adjustment on them.
Right, but I'm saying there's no 2% on this. It is based upon these things and these figures,
with our business?
Well, in the county attorney.
Straight up with that. Hold it hostage.
Companies like that.
Oh. Huh, what'd you do?
It should be different from what she should.
That's actually, we have the iPad, it says more money.
Don't do 2%, do it based on. Yeah.
They were discussing a group trail, bike trail.
They're trying to need to get something going.
Sure, how much
Oh, I'm saying.
city improvement projects cost, like, all that work, that much to put a bike trail. We're not talking about street lights, roads,
Based upon budgeted salaries.
it's a bit ridiculous.
Not to pay 2%. Well, not, you have to do the, because what people turned in, I turned in 3%, so it's more or less they don't budget it. Or budgeted on the budget? Or
Yeah.
budgeted on there?
Budget on the approved budget is, give the increases based upon what was budgeted per department. Or approved.
Like the treasurer, you have a total of 137,863.
We still haven't resolved the treasurers because half of our staff is paid through the motor vehicle tax.
But that don't affect.
But it's actually taken out of the vehicle now, we don't have to take that.
That don't affect those.
Right. So,
Isn't that what she showed, the 137,000?
yep, 137,863.
Yeah, and the proposed was 137,260.
Higher than, what's your proposal?
The 500 was the one that was added in, remember after we initially approved the budget? That was the second approval, correct?
I don't even remember the $500, because I tried to look through this.
Plus, the employee benefit for NDT is in the general fund. That's 30,000, and it's all coming out of NDT.
Then we tell all the departments to figure in a 2% raise.
3%, and then you reduce it to
What-
2%.
If you go changing that, now what's the ethics involved in it?
Well, you changed it before your,
Well, the
Budget.
budget.
If somebody else
Yeah, the
pays some people to be competitive, you're talking about county attorneys people, right?
Well,
Those people do the same work as the court service people do.
I think his thing was that he wanted to keep his compatible to what John was paying. So then,
correct. And that's what
He only moved the one, there's only one check to do that.
so the other one we get 2%?
That's what he had figured on this initial budget. And he submitted. But this is where that's where the problem is, there's nothing figured out these two.
we need to prove something. We need to figure out how we do it for payroll purposes. We can probably do something based off of what we approved.
Well, we may have to call them in just to make sure that so they know this is what we was presented, this is what was plugged into the budget, and then forward it on to them. Because I think for the most part, these are the only two I see that there's any issue.
County attorney and treasurer.
Yeah. I think otherwise,
Or you can do 2% except for county attorneys and treasurers, and theirs would be based on whatever they committed to you. Without the 2%. Can you word it that way, without the 2% increase, whatever they committed to you without the 2%?
And then we was gonna, then also not put a raise on commissioners.
Yeah, that'd be the other thing. So we could do a motion based on that at least. The payroll issue pay is when?
The 18th?
18th, next week. Starting from January 1.
Well, we don't have, maybe we need to visit, just get it clear for sure on Monday. And make sure it's
You want
like we
figures?
On
I
just
can
those,
have Linda work up figures if you want to. Look at them based on what the county attorney, I don't know if I have a copy of his.
you can log on.
I need a copy of that. And I do have a spreadsheet, so.
You got that, I've got some scribbling on it, do you have this?
I'll take that one, I'll take the county attorney. But there was no other one, right?
Well, I'm looking.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
We already have them for residents and for senior village, so we'll make a copy so that we can verify.
They all are under general, so you can still adjust. You can still adjust those down. They were separate. We can always adjust. It's all under general.
So county attorney didn't increase his any? We just increased it too?
Which is fine, we set salaries of electeds anyway, so, I mean, that's what he had budgeted, so.
County council, you did change his, so didn't you?
Counselor side, but not assistant county attorney.
The county councilor,
That crazy, that's always complicated, get me switched, okay.
do you, remember you want to call or do you need to? This one, yeah, 6291. Okay. Bye. So in sheriff's department, do we go with what? Just do the all 2%? It's gonna be between Jack coming in and John, or how are you gonna do that?
We did for the sheriff's office, because they have their, 2-year increase.
And there's a few of them, there's a couple of them got that
Or you just
step.
wanna hold
Yeah,
off on
they got
theirs
that.
until Jack comes in to, so we can go back and see him.
Yeah, but if you do that, then it holds up everybody else that's,
Yeah, and then I guess we just give them the 2%.
That's what we budgeted.
yeah. I think we're gonna have to stay close to what we approved for budget for each department. That's what I think. there's some adjustments that need to be made
You know, I
on
think
salaries, I mean.
we'll wait to be changing it now.
People are, we got first payroll day coming up next week.
So, we'll just go by 2% from 2012, other than, I guess, assume these two, county attorney and treasurer.
But they're already in there, what the attorney gave us is already in there, it was approved in the budget. And only one person got a raise.
Two of them.
Well, one
One got a step adjustment.
and then one got a 30-cent raise, 30-cent increase, which doesn't.
But, you know what I'm saying, if you say 2% for all departments, then that would mean the county attorney and the assistant would get the 2%, and that's not in there.
Unless they, based on their discretion, they didn't raise it 2%. So,
The county treasurer is, she rearranged, she changed her.
if you approve the 2% cost of living adjustment, and the department chooses not, when you approve it, does that mean we apply it universally, or is it at the discretion of every department head whether to apply it? 'Cause,
Every department would have the ability to change rates.
if you have 2%,
By, 2% over all her wages, and then she figures, some of them might get it and some might get more.
right.
That's getting into more of a merit
Yeah, that's her.
type system.
Well, and our as a senior relief, is that what I'm wrong?
Yeah.
They have, their turnover rate is just, you can't account for one person being there an entire budget year, so you adjust the pool.
When you budgeted, did you do 2% for, I know you don't have a whole lot missing in your departments. When you calculated, how did you calculate your salary?
2% above what I currently have. And then Connie, she didn't actually get a 2% raise, because we promised her in 6 months she would get a 50-cent raise, so she only got a 50-cent raise, not 2%. Which is in the budget for 2015. Good line. Good line. Because mine's difficult because we have a big lump sum under, payroll expenses because of emergency responder wages.
No, we take, oh, you need to take.
Yeah, we're gonna move to the next one. Because mine's a little different, we just have a number that we throw out, hopefully this is enough to cover all emergencies. So it's not gonna get one. We put $20,000 towards emergency services, so that's how we did it.
Lance, is JD and them, oh, is he still in for rescue?
JD and Dan no longer have their OIC pay, so it's just on
So we
per
don't
call
pay-
basis.
We don't do JD or anybody.
We still do, Adam House is Aspen OIC. But Dan and JD no longer are, so they'll just receive per call basis and they'll not get quarterly.
Linda knows that.
I'm sending a spreadsheet into it,
Okay.
to have everything in it. That's why if you look at our bid, there was $10,000 less on personnel related to electrical, shady and damp coders, detail.
You'd be good on, you'd be good on room and bridge because, see, there's 2 employees we didn't replace. Yeah, he may try to add back part-time, but there's 2 positions there, and so that would be okay. To just a 2%. The lake is okay.
I guess need some directions and we can do a spreadsheet and we can email it out, you know, if you want.
Yeah, we need to give her some sort of direction, though, based on what
Well, I mean, based on what I see here, I mean, these, that looks to me like there's 2 of them here that we're gonna have issue with. Because of the income, using a step thing versus 2%. We need to get that cleared up.
And we've talked about, I mean, this would be beyond like today, but we've talked about merit-based pay systems are getting towards, you know, we've got some stuff from Riley County on how they do some of theirs, I think it works out pretty good. And that'd be something more long-term going forward, but as far as we gotta give some direction to payroll.
We need to get that, this one, we need to get that one cleared up and then probably just check me. Otherwise, I think we're not, I think you're okay.
If we approve it pending, it's just, would you say just treasurer's office?
Well, how about, yeah, treasurer and county attorney. County attorney shows that he didn't give himself a raise for county council, or assistant, he gave it to. It looks like he gave more, so his was not a,
Could probably hold off on theirs until we get clarification.
I mean, if you want, we can give you probably get your spreadsheet by Monday, and we can final.
Let's do that.
But we can go ahead and do spreadsheet on everybody, total wise. We can figure annual so that you can kind of compare it with your budget.
Okay.
There you go, let's do that.
Is that gonna hold up payroll, or is it, what's that gonna do to payroll? If
Well, I
you're
mean,
paying
we have
15,
everything done and ready on a spreadsheet as to
the changes,
the hourly rate, we can.
you can make it on.
We can plug in.
That's good.
Okay, is that gonna change like what we budgeted, or I mean,
Well, we hope not, because I'm gonna figure it at 2% unless, that, at these, I'm gonna figure
yeah,
what she has and what he has. And I'll figure the annual on them. To you.
okay.
Senior village already has her figure, so, I mean, I'm not gonna worry about hers.
Right, that should make it, that should be.
Run
good.
Bridge has her figure, so I'll check to be sure that.
I think they're gonna be good because it was based upon filling all the positions and
Most of
putting
the
that.
other ones are just little departments, but,
Right.
Well, I think, yeah.
and I can email it to you, hopefully by Friday.
I'd like to have it, try and get something going this week on it, 'cause I think that a lot of people are requiring, I wanna get it done right, but I mean, I don't wanna hold up everybody else in the process,
You want to
there's
do
only
like
2.
2%, except for the county attorney treasurer, and just do it what they turn in to you.
That's what I would suggest.
I can do that.
That way we just get something going, I'm just thinking like, I don't wanna wait till the last minute to.
Okay, so 2013, 2% increase, except county attorney and treasurer, budget is presented.
I'll make that motion, I need a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Okay, and, I'll work with Linda to get it, spreadsheet and show, see how much annual.
How much did the social security, that's like a 2% increase, wasn't it?
Well, it went back up to the 6.2, that's what it used to be.
I was trying to figure out how many, was that 6 years ago? When was that was it enacted? Was that 6?
I thought it was like 2 or 3.
Only 2 or 3.
2009.
Yeah.
Huh?
2009 is when.
3.
2009, well,
Yep.
it seemed like,
Okay.
3 years.
If they call it.
I mean, we went ahead and did the 6.2, if it goes down, then we'll just readjust it.
Mm-hmm.
It may not have to affect, I
Couldn't remember how long ago it
yeah,
was.
but it was, I know talking about Fox Street, that's 2,009 is what we call payroll holiday, payroll tax holiday, whatever it was.
I mean, if they were, that means that the Social Security, why did they do that?
You're dealing with federal government, don't apply common sense to you.
Plan administration.
Alright,
You know, it's an Edward thing.
yeah. Alright, so we got the bill for the repairing of the ambulance door. So I have a resolution. We have $500 deductible. So is that where you want us to come from? Do you want us to come out of the ambulance fund?
Or you want to come out of general fund?
Come out of general?
Miscellaneous.
What do you want? They'll send us a check to reimburse, but we do have $500 deductible, so.
Still,
Ambulance is still out of the general.
But I mean, you want it to come out of this, where,
Operating budget.
operating budget, or do you, I mean, this is only $150,000, and that's with an unforeseen thing, I mean,
So you got one part of the budget or general?
Still out.
Okay, so we'll mark the,
Well, that is under the general.
yeah, well, at the end of the miscellaneous fund, instead of the actual annual.
right, that's when it's done there, so it's the ambulance fund.
We did take $72,000 out of the ambulance per se budget that we will reimburse once we give the lease purchase.
And then Pat did the trailer house plan that we have, that we talked about last meeting,
Okay.
and I signed it. Does that go to Sheriff Calhoun, or does Pat do
No,
it?
we just need to make a copy and send it down, send it down.
It's just the-
Somebody needs to keep a copy of that, and send it back in.
You want a copy in your office?
That's fine. Somebody just needs to keep track of it.
Okay.
It was $1,101.
$1,115. There'll be one more for a tail light, but
You need to fill out that work, because that's for PO.
They still need, when they just fill out, only yeah.
you just come about invoice.
Because I think it comes down to $2,700 if you need it.
No, you need copies, or do you want
I
copies?
just have to go and do that. That's on the letter.
There will be, I told them to be the middle of the end of the month before they get paid. They're not big deal. Well,
There'll be one
Yeah,
more
yeah.
invoice for a tail light. I'll bring that one up.
we can jail this or something, they don't need to fill out a PO for that.
I have
And then
Kenny's
we
number.
hear the side, and then we get.
When, you have final
If
decision date.
you need to wait till the.
What's up, Phil?
There's nothing to take over.
There ain't no major hurry.
You know some good people that are.
You know some good people? Surprise.
I told him if I could afford it.
That you try to figure this out,
I'll try to.
yes, and
Then you want to come down to the.
They have-
PO.
classified right away with 50% job.
Really?
Yeah, so 2012, just bought this one, so. I called the computer science. Mr. Vaughn. You know, any other babies or John?
We got
We have
more.
one.
Well, I just really got a question for Pauline, really,
Oh,
on
okay.
this petition for Moses Road. With the publication down to the Globe, it says we have to set a time for a hearing on this. I didn't know the Globe had contacted Pauline.
You guys will set a hearing date.
No, I didn't hear anything. Talk to Alan?
They said they was gonna call you
Did you just do it?
yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I was, yesterday, supposed to do it. So,
That's what the letter says, I'm sure you read it.
I just need to get a,
I think we have to publish that in the paper too, if that notice correct.
Yes.
yeah, so as soon as I get a hearing date, I'll
You have anything else on, you look online, so anything else on?
At 10:30 if you want. Stephanie?
Yeah, 10:30 will be fine.
Okay.
Wednesday, 23rd.
Of January.
Yeah, this morning. So,
You'll keep this for 20,
yeah,
23rd,
23rd,
okay.
10:30.
And what's going on with that?
Marilyn was out this morning when I left due to a family emergency, but I would just call 583 and press that, whatever main office, front office. Rita's there, she could probably help you. I don't remember everybody's extensions offhand.
Got her written down out there.
Yeah. On that new phone system.
This is one that I worked out with the lake people. If you want to contact that, they said half, that we, they don't need near 400 now, but they got that. Zero turn over. And they want to go through 3 or 4 tanks when it's separated to gas. And they don't have a car, and you ask them, they just use out there, they got a barrel, and they just, that truck, they just use out the barrel. So, now you don't have to sign that, because we got to issue a new
Oh.
PO on that. Well, Matt signed it, they're going to have to. I'll see what Pauline says, but
Get you out.
that's good enough if you guys say it, we'll go ahead. They have, that's plenty, I mean, that's not as much as they usually have, but it's kilometers anyway, so they may have to buy a little more. I told them that way they don't have to call us, until they use this up, they don't have to call us for permission, because it's already contracted and ready to go.
Yep.
Okay. She's made an appeal on that mower, so I'll just have to get her.
Oh, it's Pauline. Hi. Hey, just a moment, we're doing a presentation. Can you, yeah, okay, I need a hearing aid on the phone. What else do you need?
We just established the 14th as the organization day.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're at that.
Okay, I just didn't see it on there.
Yeah.
We got set a time, some reorganization.
Take half hour.
Committees, so.
That's quite a project. Yeah, I didn't know the general contracts, trying to save some money, and everybody wanted to get together, to
Yeah.
work.
Sounds like Karen, I'll just have a second for this.
But not from what I'm trying to hire everybody but one person. I get one person who can get that. Well, that's not too bad. No.
They called off the December meeting.
Right. Okay.
If you want to get the rest of it, that's the Multi-County Health Department is doing a whole lot better since we made our cuts. We're back in the black maybe, they're starting to look at possibly hiring a part-time CEO.
Okay.
And, so things are looking a lot better.
Can you pass me a copy of that?
$186,000 turnaround in 6 months, or 8 months.
Okay, as long as you have it before, what time? Yeah.
8:50, they've got the road.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Boy, we must be in trouble.
No.
I thought it was 12:30.
I think they're not.
Okay, thanks. Uh-huh, right.
You're fine. We probably, if you want to make that a new, that's what I worked out with the county rate, based on that. I mean, this we can try it off.
They're coming up for the reception. They're not really.
Are we good on that date then? Or
Yeah,
what?
and I'm going, well, I'll get back to her, but yeah, January 23rd,
Okay.
10:30.
10:30?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's all I need. Thanks.
Yep.
Sir?
Yep. How's everything else going? Good luck, no? No, thank you. That's fine. You're all right. That might change this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope.
Calling on the 14th for reorganization, maybe if I need to reorganize at 10, I would suggest.
So it's full and be sworn in by 9:15.
Do we have to wait until noon, or do we ever?
They said, the Secretary of State's office said, whenever the elected official gets sworn in, and they take office, county attorney said they take office at 12:01 on the 14th a.m. So it's your choice.
The Secretary of State would have jurisdiction.
So if you want him sworn in at 9:15, swear him in, and you can do reorganization.
You okay with that? Is that been scheduled?
And we can also swear him back in at noon.
If you want to be efficient.
Do we have to do the others too?
And that's the team.
You know, the shall have to be, they have to be sworn in too.
Well, we're gonna do it at noon.
Sure. Yeah, all of them have to be sworn in.
We can do him early.
As long as
Well,
the state's
I can-
happy with it.
I can come in, so if they have it at noon, I can come in.
It's your call. Jefferson County swearing him in at noon, and then they're having their reorganizational meeting at 1. That's when it's,
Of course, they usually meet on.
yeah, they usually meet in the afternoon.
Do we want to meet after we do it that way?
I'm fine with it, yeah.
You want to meet at 1
Just meet at
or
1.
1:30? We just need up to meet it when it's public. And we need to let
Is
people
that
poll.
not sure they have to? Like two.
No, I mean, as long as it's not gonna be common that we're switching around.
Right, no, but that might tease everybody a little bit more if we just decide to meet at 1, do the swearing in, say 12, do all the swearing in at 12:30 or something.
What about the
Mary, is
judges?
that?
That meeting in the noon.
What about the judges? Because Martin's got,
Noon?
one,
No, they'll be sworn in at noon.
oh, that's right, yeah.
They'll be sworn in at noon, and
Yeah, that'll be good.
they'll need to swear at noon.
See, that, for the next,
So, 1:30?
9:15.
1:30?
Better meet at 9:15. It's been published that the meetings will be at probably 9:15 for the next 2 Mondays.
Well,
I'll
believe I
send
put
Mary
in
a-
tentative, but, you know.
I'll
I
send
don't
Mary
think
an
that
email,
matters.
notify her and Terry, and the department head. That's what I did the last time. So, because I haven't told them about this meeting.
Yeah, and that 10 o'clock should actually, yes, I don't know what you call that appeals, but we just call that a solid waste appeals hearing or something, because we're not actually, we haven't set up any appointments yet.
Okay.
And that's only gonna last 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes.
So I just need to know what's on. I can email everybody, we can put it in the
I'm open any
So it's up to you. Up to you guys, huh?
If you wanna wait for him to be sworn in at noon and do it
Let's just do that, let's swear in at noon.
at maybe 1:30?
And do, I'd say 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
It's not gonna take that long to do the swearing in.
It's such a swearing at 12:30, you want to do them all, can we do them all, you want to have all of them up there at one time?
Well, I think they're planning on noon.
Noon, I think everybody's saying noon.
I don't know, court meeting, don't think.
Yeah, important.
Oh, you do it before, okay. I did it
You
here.
do? I have to do mine up here.
I did mine here.
Well, you got the judges, so,
Oh,
when the
okay.
judges are,
Okay.
So we're gonna meet at the court, okay. You're on trial.
at noon.
Have we got that all straight, Mary? So
Meetings at 1?
the reorganizational meeting will be at 1, and the swearing in and public official will be at.
I will email you again, Mary,
Okay.
because I have to do the 22nd.
So, no need me coming in?
Why not?
Yeah, absolutely, we need
Oh, okay.
We're gonna keep coming.
I need the band that goes in there. Did you take all that off?
Yeah, I'll do it. You want that back?
Yeah. And I've got Jeff downstairs. He's looking for you too.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if I
I think unless I get broke this.
Am I supposed to have one there or something?
had.
I think I got your band downstairs.
I'll, you want the gavel and everything, or just the band?
Just the band, so I can get your band.
I guess I got one. You need, what one do you need to take off?
Huh?
Oh, you need that.
Do I keep your band? Huh?
I didn't eat much breakfast this morning.
And that agenda two, I think two different
So
agendas.
which one do you want?
The number two, the one that's number two, we need to get that out to media,
So does that one have the 10 to 15 minutes for you?
yeah, for the EMS.
I picked up, sheet, people.
I figured when Jim kind of introduced, we got it, either he does it or I do it, I'm just gonna have to record it. Just real quick. Okay. I figured that.
Hopefully that's clear as mud.
I think I read it about that, so there's
If you need it, you have
Oh, okay.
so here, I'm just
one
looking at
copy of
this is
department's
public official.
budget and then all the requested,
I told her
the requested amounts, like allocation, so we
you
know what we're spending.
Okay. Good. Is that in the, is that 12?
Right.
Yeah.
I had 8 down for it, that's sorry.
Put it in that house.
So we're gonna eat it fast tomorrow, 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Blue building. Last time we had a meeting out there, $30,000. Yeah, 4 bags. I was flooding
You
coming back home.
say you can hear it too, it rains in that building, you can hear it rain.
Yeah.
I remember that last meeting.
Yeah.
It
It was
was,
pretty bad.
yeah, it was, and it was really hard to drive through that water on the outskirts of Effingham.
Mhm.
When was that?
Is that 2010? No, that was 2011. Summer 2011? Yeah.
I think that's probably about the only rain,
Yeah.
the big rain.
The summer of 2011, I can't remember exactly when.
When you guys will sign it, we'll put it on, I'll take it.
Right.
Okay. And this, one,
Okay, you have to hold this off until night comes in to leave. Or you take it out of the generator. You go to.
That's-
Yeah.
entertain a motion to adjourn at 11:38.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Should be Tom's here. His last motion.
Would you check it? You can really put the whole thing, it's slide. See that?
Anything like that, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd say there's a.
Good,
some good work on
is,
that.
would Donnie Kinsey around or not?
They did more activity down there
All right.
for.
Well, I think just pass this on
I
to
think they
him, Matt, you know, he came in and.
They gotta leave that
you
little
know,
park, you know,
submitted
that pad
bids.
where they fill it.
They was talking about that the other day, they didn't know if that was just a pad.
Just so.
Construction